Alright, and this is the part 2 of the iMac G3 Teardown 2020. So right now, all you gotta do is put the case pieces back on. Same way as taking them off. You just kind of slide it under the CRT support and then just slide it back into place on the side. Now it's really hard to maneuver the computer around with nothing under it that you can really grab onto, so there's nothing really easily to grab onto, so you can just pick it up. You're gonna have to bend the case a little bit to get it to go around, but that's fine, so you don't need to worry about that. Then there's the 5 screws that you took out before. I always start with the first one that pulls the case in closer to the plastic, so it's the middle one right next to the end of the CRT. So then you need to put in the CD drive and hard drive, which you just set into place, and then there's 4 screws, which again aren't magnetic and are very annoying, so you can see I'm kind of struggling with that in a minute. I can't, because they just keep falling off the end of the screwdriver, and then I gotta try to move them and pick them back up, and it's just really annoying, so take your time doing this part so you don't drop any screws. Okay, so I got that, and now I'm just putting the motherboard in. When you put the motherboard in, be really careful, because it's, you know, the motherboard, you don't want to break it. So you have to kind of slide it under the CD/DVD drive, and then also right there, where my right hand just was, is where a connector is for either the video or the power, I can't remember. And sometimes they get a little bent, so you just kind of have to push it and align it back up with the connector on the bottom of the board. So yeah, it's pretty simple. I know you can't see what I'm doing right now. I'm just connecting up, or pulling out the IDE cables, because what you want to do now is put the first one that's connected to the motherboard in, and then the CD drive, and then the hard drive. There, again, are a bunch of screws that hold on the motherboard. I have no idea how many. Just make sure that you don't miss any, because they are important. This is one of the easier steps. You just gotta find everything and then put it all in. And don't forget about your RAM, otherwise that'll start beeping at you when you turn the computer on. So yeah, you can see some of the screws there. Just make sure that you don't miss any, because it grounds the motherboard, and you know, you want to make sure you have good ground. I'm not sure if I show, but I end up removing that battery that's on the motherboard, because 1, it doesn't work, and 2, it's really common that they'll leak, and you definitely don't want that leaking on your board. So if your battery's dead, just remove it, throw it away. If you're not going to use this computer, or your iMac G3 a lot, there's no real point in replacing it. It just basically holds the time. So if you're not planning on using the computer a lot, just kind of to collect, then just forget about it. So then there's this shield. Make sure you put it over the VGA port first and then push it down. I cut myself because it's pointy, so be careful. Then there's just the 6 screws, again, 2 on each side, and then 2 on the top. Okie dokie, so now you gotta put on the trim piece again. So again, there's 4 slots that the top has to go into, and then 3 clips on each side. You can just see me hitting those into place. And then there's the 2 screws on the bottom that you have to do. So flip the computer upside down, grab those 2 screws, and they're the longer of the 2 that you took out. The shorter ones go on the top, where the shell, like the purple case is, and the shorter ones go on the bottom, where I'm doing right now. So yeah, this is also a good time if you have blown up speakers, just disconnect them, because you don't want to hear the when you could just disconnect them. So you can see I just put the case back on. Now I'm looking for the key. I have a bajillion to lock the RAM door drive, and I've done that. And then there's 2 screws right here, so just do those 2, and then put the VGA cover back on. You just hit it with your palm, or make your hand into a fist, and then it'll click right in. You're good. 2 screws on the top, do those. You sometimes have to kind of pull the case forward or push it backwards to get it to align up with the holes, but really no concern. And now I'm just going to fire up the computer and show that it works perfectly fine after doing all this stuff, and that there's no reason other than if you're afraid of breaking something, but you won't. Be really careful when doing it, and you'll be fine. So please like and subscribe,